But we begin with the New York Mets. The team has hired Jared Porter as their new general manager. Porter serving under Theo Epstein in Boston and Chicago, and most recently was the assistant GM of the Arizona Diamondbacks. In fact, started as an intern under Theo Epstein. So certainly he has come up the ranks through the ranks of professional baseball. There's a look at the career profile as he becomes now the new general manager for the New York Mets. And the Mets come in, Ken, with a lot of momentum. Their fan base is excited. New ownership. We're going to talk about the James McCann signing in just a bit. But how did this deal come together? And what is the outlook now for this Mets franchise?
Well, remember, they initially wanted to hire a president of baseball operations, but couldn't get the person they wanted. Couldn't get permission on some.
Right.
Some didn't want to come. So Sandy Alderson pivoted in the middle of this and said, okay, I'm not going to be completely removed from baseball, or as removed as I thought I was going to be. I'll be more in baseball. I'll hire a general manager. We'll go about it that way, at least to start off with. Jared Porter is someone who is well regarded in the industry. He interviewed with the Angels and was a finalist for that job as well, and has interviewed for other positions along the same lines. He, with Arizona, did a lot on the pro side as opposed to the amateur side, but he has experience in any number of areas. He's worked for 4 World Series champions. So if the Mets were not going to pick Al Leiter, they probably got the right guy.
That's funny.
Now, he brings up Sandy Alderson, and clearly he has a wealth of experience. And I think he said earlier, look, I want a seat at the table. I'm not going to be calling the shots on everything, but I want a seat at the table. And for Jared Porter in a new position and something he's never done, I would think having someone like Sandy Alderson right there across the hall or next to him is definitely a win.
Yeah, Ruffalo, I think it's a great pick for the reason what you're talking about, Ken. If it was a situation, Sandy Alderson, president of the ball club, that's just not president of baseball operations, who the manager is and who the bench coach is and who's going to be your field coordinator down in Port St. Lucie. It's everything. So the all-encompassing part of that. But Sandy's heart is still obviously player development and the player operation with respect to baseball operation. Jared Porter, what I like about him, and read up an awful lot on him, and I know people who know him well, he's a baseball guy, but I say that not in a way of rawr, with the chew in his mouth and he's, tobacco. He's a guy that has really have the balance of what we know today as analytics and research and information, but yet the scouting sense. And many of the articles and interviews that I've heard him, he talks very fondly of the importance of scouting. Here's a guy that out of college was at the Cape Cod League, worked for the Brewster Whitecaps for a couple of summers. You talk about somebody going down to where, where Americana baseball to learn his baseball and cut his teeth. And then eventually, as you say, Ken, with the Red Sox and then the Cubs and then, with Hazen out in Arizona. Yeah. It is a great pick with the balance of understanding both the analytic community and scouting player development.
Well, it's interesting. The last 2 GM picks, Perry Minasian and now Jared Porter, similar in that respect. They're not pure analytics guys.
Yes.
And maybe the sport, I hate to encapsulate 2 hires and make it the entire industry trend, but maybe the sport is leaning back toward more of a balance. These guys will bring balance. Jared Porter is a scout. Perry was a scout. That's who these guys are. Jared's a guy who signed Daniel Nava for $1. He was someone who went and saw Rich Hill when Rich Hill was out of the game, watch in Massachusetts, off a mound. So he has that background to him, but he also has the ability to speak to owners, to players, all of that. And that is why he has been pointed out by many people as a logical pick to be a general manager well before this move happened.
Right.